Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Phil Spencer.
Welcome to the new generation of games. Now, I'm excited to announce that Xbox One will launch this November at $499 in European markets and 429 pounds in the US and 499 euros at 29 pounds in European markets and 429 pounds in the UK.
I'm very proud to announce that PlayStation 4 will be available at $399.
Quiet.
We will start over.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 26 of Ultimate Gamer Podcast. This is our once-a-year special Bonanza E3 edition.
Coming to you almost live from random apartments across the United States.
Hey, I don't live in an apartment. I live in a house.
I'm sorry, I live in a condo, mofo.
Technically not an apartment.
So what? Oh yeah, I forgot, you're Mr. Semantics. Moving on. How is everyone doing? I really don't care because you can't answer. Nah, 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 nah. That's right, you thought you hated me before. Now hate me in high definition.
And no, he is not in my house. He's not, sitting beside me. He has a new fancy, schmancy-pantsy microphone, so yes.
Yeah, that looks like a ginormous antique vibrator. But yeah, nonetheless, it works.
Or does it?
Oh my. Anyway.
So let's just get this shit together. I had kind of an idea of how we would roll things out. I think we should just nail out each of the top three, press conferences, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft.
Which, by the way, these top three were not... None of them were the strongest of E3.
I know, but we'll discuss that afterwards. We'll nail them out. I think we should just do them in the order that they were presented. I think we should just hit it off with Microsoft first.
Microsoft.
Can we all just agree that it's, at this point, a colossal fuck-up?
They got cock-slapped, man. They got cock-slapped.
Hey, I have to say, overall, the presentation that they gave off, I actually enjoyed because it was just to the fucking point.
The presentation was blank, it was vague, it was silly.
No. They just showed off games. Like, they've never done this in the past, 3 E3s. It was always about fucking Kinect. Hey, kids, you can pet a imaginary tiger. Ooh. This...
You can run in place like a fucking moron.
Yes. And hey, you know what? When the tiger licks the screen, that tickles, Cuddles. That tickles.
That was... Well, that was every pedophile's wet dream. Moving on.
Yes, but I have to say that this is the first time in a very long time that they just got to the fucking point and just started announcing game after game after game after game.
They understood that their weak point is going to be the system itself. All the drawbacks, all the limitations, but they're being smart about it because they are inundating you with exclusives. They are inundating you with games. They want you to say, hey, the system sucks, but you know what? It's got some pretty good games.
Yes, we're trying to, it's the whole smoke and mirrors thing. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's not where you want your focus. We want you to be stupid, blind, and just buy this fucking machine.
Games. Just look at them. The system may be owning your ass, but the games are not.
Hey, it was actually I knew they were gonna call it Killer Instinct instead of a fucking Conker's Bad Fur Day or a Jet Force Gemini or any game that would be actually worth something.
Yeah.
And it's not even bad enough that it's Killer Instinct. It's gonna be a digital only release.
Yes, in which the first character I think is free, but every additional character costs you money.
Yes, so it's bad enough that you're...
What a brilliant fucking idea. I can understand that many of these decisions are made in the back end. They're made by people who have obviously never played a game in their life. And this is true with the majority of games out there. And with the majority of companies that deal with entertainment, the people who are in charge, the people who are, making the big, broad decisions of how projects go about, are people who have never played a game in their entire life. So you have to understand that, unfortunately, with wealth and comfort comes idiocy and complacency. And this is what we're starting to see in the dynasty of Xbox.
Yes, they're becoming arrogant pricks.
And for this E3, I officially dub Microsoft future Sega Dreamcast.
Which they're already getting compared to. They're getting compared to Sega.
Well, yeah, it's a pretty big reason why. I mean, everything that they're doing is almost a mirror vision of what Sega was doing back in the olden days.
Yeah. Now, I mean, overall of all the games, I mean, yeah. I can't even say anything, but, you know, I don't think people should be surprised. Like, when they had that part where you just see some man in the desert with a cloth over him, and I just kept saying to myself, it's fucking Halo, it's fucking Halo, it's fucking Halo.
Okay.
Oh, look, it's Cortana's, like, dead
I think
chip.
Jack,
It's fucking Halo.
the bomb will agree with me when I say I used to be a big Halo fan.
No shit. You skipped school and bought the legendary edition of Halo 3.
Bet your ass I did.
Yeah.
Ooh, the helmet does not fit my fat head.
No, I do have a fat head. Wink. Anyway, but yeah, I skipped
wait, just have to ask the
It
question.
was an event, man. It was an event
ask
of
the
time.
question. How much are they going for on eBay these days? Ooh, that's right, $10.
Okay, cool. I'm still keeping it. I'm not selling that shit, man. I'm putting that shit on display. I like those games. This was a fun time in my childhood, and I loved every single second of it. But
That's
besides
before
the
the Red Ring of Death hit you.
That's before the current dynasty that unfortunately has taken Halo and prostituted in every possible way.
Exactly.
I mean, remember, Halo used to be, when it was like coveted by Bungie, they wouldn't make a film unless they had complete control over it. They wouldn't make anything without having complete control over it. Since they sold off Halo and, started 343 Industries, et cetera, now, unfortunately, it's stuff like this is going to happen. And really, the only thing you can tell me about the next Halo game is that it's going to be at a blazing 60 FPS. Really?
And shinier.
That's it.
Hey,
Wow.
we all have to know if Cortana is alive. I mean, it
I've
seems like they took
unfortunately
the
lost
story. They took the
interest in
story
Halo.
about this big epic war and made it all about this artificial bitch.
No. It was supposed to be about an epic war, and it was supposed to be also about the aftermath, which it kind of fits with how the country is now. We're no longer at war. We're no longer a country that was looking to vent its frustration with being unable to control every facet of its reality. But now we're in a post-war world, and so the game has turned into a post-war reality. And so you're starting to find a need or a lack of actual good story points. So that's why we're starting to see shit like this. Steven Spielberg doing television, another game which we know nothing about, an iOS game.
Yes.
I'm sorry, not an iOS game, a tablet or a mobile game, whatever.
No, it's on Windows Phone, that thing that you always insult me for owning.
I'm not insulting you. I'm just saying it was a pretty bad idea, but hey, whatever.
It wasn't a bad idea to switch to Windows Phone.
Nexus 4 for the win.
Fuck your Nexus 4, because you're going to install Ubuntu on it.
No, it's not because I'm going to. It's because I can install.
Whoa, shit. You burned me. Big fucking deal. Let's move on.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't take to it lightly.
Hey. Don't you dare insult my Nokia. Don't do it.
It's so cute. Oh, do they sell those for men?
Yeah, but at least my phone has a real flash. Whoa.
Yeah, so does mine. The LG Motion has a bright as fuck flash.
No, it doesn't.
Yes.
It doesn't have Xeon.
It does not have Xeon, but it does have a good flash.
It has LED. I have LED and Xeon on my phone.
Yes, because you take a lot of pictures with your camera, don't you?
Oh, yeah. You want some?
No. Moving on.
But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a
There's
surprise.
not much else that can really be added to Microsoft since
Oh,
everyone
yes.
already feels the same way.
No. There's more we can add. There's
I mean,
definitely
okay,
more.
let's start with the price point.
No, that's what I wanted to end it off with. But, I mean...
Okay, then. Let's end off with the price.
Okay, fine, yeah. Well, it's going to be $499 US, which is the same price as the 20 gig PS3 at launch. That's right. The little brother that was $100 cheaper than the $599 60 gigger. It's that lost one. I've never seen a 20 gig PS3 in person before. It's the one that's entirely black.
Yeah, I had that one.
You did?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. You have to take a picture. I need to see it.
It doesn't exist anymore. It's somewhere in the landfill off New York City.
Son of a bitch, because it is that one that I've never seen, and most people have never seen because it was quickly discontinued.
Yeah, I know it was discontinued. That's why
it's the only PS3 model that doesn't have Wi-Fi in it.
Anyway.
But yeah, I mean that's a retarded price point, and then on top of that,
it's not entirely retarded. Let's look at it from a logical standpoint. We're living in the age of $399. Yes, $399 is what you expect to get for a welfare PC. That's right, gaming junkies. These are welfare PCs.
My graphics card costs more.
Exactly. Graphics card not only costs more, but you could probably run everything at max power on an Xbox One and still not come close to the pure processing power of just the card.
Just say my card is 3 times the power of the PS4.
And that's just the card. Just the card. Nothing else. No outside processing. Anyway,
okay.
That's moving aside because really when it comes down to it, this E3, like every recent E3 in recent memory, has been us, the PC Master Race, looking at the monkeys who are the console gamers fight each other out while we pay money.
I really need to send you that photo.
I saw the photo.
No,
yeah.
No, you didn't. You didn't get this photo. I sent it's a Flickr photo. So let me send this to you. If you can click on it, it is basically it's from The Simpsons. So someone.
Yes, that's the one I was talking about.
Oh, really? Okay.
You already posted in the previous chat.
Well,
yes.
basically, it's going to be the that's going to be our title card. So
if you're looking at the title card, this is what I'm talking about. This has basically been the past 2 or 3 E3s for us.
Pretty much, it's just us PC guys sitting back, watching 2 monkeys with blades cutting each other.
But no, we're focusing on Microsoft. We'll get to the PC goodness, what's actually worthwhile from E3 later on.
Okay, so Microsoft, the price point, you were saying why we can justify it?
There's a reason to justify it. One, the welfare PC, the system itself would make sense at $399. What you're paying an extra $100 for is the fact that you have a mandatory accessory, the Kinect. Now remember, the Kinect when it officially came out the first time was $150 standalone. Now
I forget it was that expensive. Yeah, this stupid little fucking thing that I'm holding in my hand.
They lowered it down to $100 to be a bundle pack, and whether we like to admit it or not, Microsoft is taking a hit of at least $100 to $200 per system. But they don't care about that hit because of the ridiculous, exorbitant prices that they have on games, not to mention the fact that the DRM means that you will have to buy the game no matter what you do.
Well, for now.
Unlike PS4.
No, we'll get there. But hey, rules were meant to be broken, folks, and you could bet your ass that at some point the Xbox One will be cracked. It will be cracked.
It will be cracked. I have always been a Microsoft man. I've always been an Xbox man. You can ask Jack here. I've always been an Xbox man.
Just look at his account. How how that says you've been like an Xbox Gold member for X number of years. Yeah. I think you have the absolute maximum it can be.
Yeah, because I started playing Xbox Live like the month it came out, back when it was only like 2 games, Mech Assault and that stupid NBA game. So I basically only played Mech Assault. But that's not the point. The point is, I used to be an Xbox man. I was
paid more for gold than I did for a PS3.
But anyway, after that, I became a PC gamer, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. But this has truly and utterly left me, I wouldn't say emotionally scarred. It feels like a betrayal. And I don't mean a betrayal like I'm emotionally endowed. I'm an entitled little bitch like some people. No, I understand decisions need to be made, and the corporations care more about their bottom line than they do about us. But it feels like, that feeling you got when you heard Nintendo Power Magazine was being canceled?
Yes. It felt like someone just stomped all over your hopes and dreams.
It felt like the end of something, but you didn't know what it was. And this is what it feels like. Microsoft is looking at people not as people or gamers. They're looking at us as data points. They're looking at us as profit margins. And it's necessary for a corporation to do that. But it does not work when your business is literally to make your customers happy, because that's what entertainment is. We buy this. We spend money on this to make ourselves happy. This plays no notion into the needs. This is only a want. This entire industry is based on something that entertains us and provides us with pleasure. It's not something that, we need to survive. It's not something that... So with
but the irony of it is that everything Microsoft has been announcing only will inflict pain on us.
Exactly. DRM, limitations, creepy camera connected to the internet.
Think about this way. And I think this is actually a very fair thing. No one's ever said this yet. You remember that one Christmas when Xbox Live was like out for the entire day? It was offline because there was just too many fucking people opening up an Xbox 360? Yes. Now, what if that happened with the Xbox One? No one would be able to play any games. Because the thing could not check in, and that can happen. Xbox Live is not impervious to being shut down. Look at PSN. PSN
Let me be the first one to say that this is going to happen. If you buy an Xbox One and it comes to your door and you set it up on the day of launch and you get it, it's not going to work the first day. No server system has ever, in the history of electronic entertainment, been able to handle day one.
Exactly. Look at, what's it called? SimCity. So now you're telling me now, and this is the biggest argument everyone's ever had, like, this is the only argument they can make. Well, but you have an internet connection, and you have to have good internet, and it can't be Microsoft's fault for you to have bad internet. Well, it will be Microsoft's fault for having a bad service that will be kneed in the nads and taken down by the sheer number of simultaneous activations. Yeah, I mean, think about a game activation, because you have to activate the game every time you get one. Think about the next Call of Duty, and millions of people rush out day one to get
every single
they all activate at the same time.
A horrible, horrible event of shutting down the network simply because authentication is going to flood everything. And here's a kicker. I'm getting this off of Luke Plunkett from Kotaku. I know not the best source, but I'm already seeking a secondary source to double check this.
Okay.
But it seems that EA is now officially stating denials that they pay Microsoft for used game DRM. So there may be the possibility, why they're putting it out in public now, I don't know. But it would make sense for public outcry to follow if EA was the one that was responsible for forcibly placing DRM that disables games into a game system. Think about
this way. Think based on the history and the way events played out. They announced that they were going to stop online passes like a good week or two before the Xbox One's announcement.
Suspicious.
Exactly. You can't, it's not like the whole, oh my god, the conspiracy of who actually blew up our buildings.
This isn't conspiracy. This is how you do business.
Yeah, this is pretty obvious. I mean, coincidence or not, they did it a good few weeks before the announcement of the Xbox One, and what does the Xbox One announce? You can't buy used games. Like that's okay, yes, technically you can, but they make you jump up and down.
You need to know the person for more than 30 days. You could only do it once in your entire existence. And after that, you can never get the game back, etc., etc. Look. That's all nice and everything. Those are nice little loopholes that you try to create, which are obviously never going to be misused. But when it comes down to it, the DRM is there not for the manufacturer. The DRM is there for the publisher. Why? Because the manufacturer has nothing to gain from adding DRM. I'm serious.
Yeah, sure. No, the only thing they have to gain is to please their publishers.
Exactly.
That's all they're doing. They're basically saying, we have a partnership. Yeah, I wonder what that partnership was.
The game system with the heaviest DRM is the one that's being flooded. I mean, absolutely flooded with single IP, with new IPs, with exclusives, with a set of ridiculous plethora of games. I mean, we'll get to Sony.
There was a rumor that went out saying that EA was paid off by Microsoft not to announce certain games for PS4. I take those completely with a grain of salt because, people pull these out their ass. But
we don't have anything to compile this. This is just rumor and speculation. We just heard from the bad tongues in the back of the...
If it came out of the limelight that there was an actual audio recording of this and that, of this deal taking place, I would not doubt it. I would not be surprised.
And it wouldn't actually be illegal, technically speaking. But hey, that's not us to say, and we don't have anything to back it up. We're just going by rumors that are going around the dark corners of the internet.
Yes.
Now, moving along to another point.
Okay.
That I really wanted to touch upon. Because when I heard it, I became completely outraged. And my coworkers, the moment I heard it, will tell you the same thing, that I was absolutely outraged, that I actually yelled out, "This is an outrage!"
Wait, actually, before you do that, there are some positives I can throw out there.
We'll get to the positives after this. I need to lay this down. This
Okay.
truth. This hard truth.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is coming from The Verge. When they were asking about the specifications about whether we would get a straight answer, does the Xbox need to connect once a day, et cetera, what happens if people don't have internet, yada, yada, yada.
Ah, I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Yeah. Magic is, if you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device. It's called a 360. So apparently, for the new generation of Xbox owners that Xbox wants to please, you are not good enough if you don't have decent internet. Now,
you must be this tall to ride this ride.
Now, listeners of this podcast will know that that's been my argument since the beginning. If you don't have internet, stop fucking whining. But it's coming from me. I'm not providing you a service. You're just hearing my rants. When the provider of your service, when the creator of your beloved console, tells you directly, hey, since you live in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, you're not good enough for the new console. So why don't you just pick up this newer version of the older console and quit your bitching? Even though we're only going to support it for maybe 5 more years, which in reality is only going to be 1 to 2 years of support.
Well, no, but actually, here's one concern. There is no history of Microsoft actually supporting a system, because you remember the original Xbox was cut off the fucking umbilical cord. Life support was yanked the fuck out the second the Xbox 360 was released.
This is absolutely true. I was there.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they cut this thing off like a
the
tumor.
official statement is saying that, hey, we will support the 360 for another following 5 years, and there are titles that are 360 exclusive. That, yes, that's in the pipeline. That's true. But looking at it logically, development for a video game takes anywhere between 3 to 5 years. Mm-hmm. So 5 years of development or 5 years of support equates to 1 to 2 years of actual new games being provided and support being provided for the hardware. So that's great and all, but unless within the next 3 years, you're unable to move to a place with a consistent internet connection and buy yourself a new console, you're no longer an Xbox gamer.
But now here's the other concern, right? I mean, look at the Nintendo Wii. Nintendo announced a few months ago that by the end of the summer, they're shutting off half the services for the original Wii. They're killing off, the news feeds, the weather. They're going to be shutting off the Everybody Votes channel, the Nino Nintendo channel, which is Nintendo channel. I remember the Japanese name for it. But, they're cutting all these things off. They haven't announced that they're going to cut off the store. But now you have to question yourself. What services is Microsoft going to cut off on that 360 the second the Xbox One comes out?
And remember, the entire selling point for the new console is the plethora of services provided by their online account system, which include live television and all this. So you're telling me they're going to cross-wire their bandwidth for both systems and legacy support on a system that is clearly and outright stated plainly to the public, fuck you legacy support, only the rich people should be able to play this game.
Exactly, and I wouldn't be surprised if they will cut off Last.fm, all those services.
Don Matrix, I can never say his name. Don Matrix's own words that if you have zero access to the internet, get an offline device like a 360. Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
I'm quoting him directly. There is a YouTube vid where he says this directly. Now, to any passerby, it just seems like, hey, that makes sense. But to the hardcore, or quote, hardcore gamers out there who consistently call themselves hardcore gamers while playing on consoles, you shouldn't be mad at me. You should be mad at them, because as much of a dick as I am, I'm not even stupid to pull that shit off.
Exactly. And we are already seeing the effects. Before we really dive into Sony, we have to say it this way. There are a lot of Xbox 360 fanboys who have converted over to Sony because of the bullshit Microsoft has spewed.
And unfortunately, I hate to say it, I really do. I'm one of them.
And I'm shocked. Like, I mean, I wrote a lot of. I put up a review for each one
now,
of the
obviously,
things.
unfortunately, since I'm a PC Master Race gamer, I'm not going to buy one off launch. But if I ever am going to be, pushed into buying a console, and I probably am because I'm a Dust 514 fan, and I'm loving what Ubisoft is doing. Which, by the way, we'll get to that later. You know what? If it's not going to be on PC, then I'm probably going to have to get a PS4 anyway. So
I hope in the next 10 years, every game that comes out on PC.
oh my God, it would be
I want to see that day. I want to see a day where I could fire up Mario Kart in my rig.
I want to see a day where Star Citizen is considered a low-budget game. But yes.
But that's the thing, is that a lot of people have commented on my own videos saying how they used to be a diehard Xbox fan, but they just cannot support this bullshit.
And this is the backlash that we already expected, and we're
I'm
going
glad.
to see throughout the entire cycle.
I'm glad that there is backlash, because I was starting to lose hope for us gamers. Because I mean, there are plenty of things, plenty of bullshit that came out this past generation, mostly from Sony and Microsoft.
If the plebeians are willing to get outraged by this, I will applaud it.
Oh no, I'm glad, because they've been sitting by for too long. The fact that, and I have to say, look, I bought an Xbox 360. I've already mentioned this on a previous episode. I decided, because on the dashboard they said, hey, for $1 you get a month. Okay, so I figured, what's $1? I'll do that, and then I'll cancel it. I already canceled it, but I'm looking at this. I'm like, well, I need gold for YouTube, which is bullshit. I need gold to access my Netflix subscription that I pay Netflix directly for. Bullshit. I have to pay for Twitter. I have to pay for Facebook. I have to pay for Last.fm.
They have to pay for the infrastructure, my friend.
I know, but the infrastructure is not from them. I mean, the thing is, it's not like Microsoft is downloading these videos, transcoding it, and then sending it to your console. It's the same fucking services that your PS3 accesses in the same way. True. I mean, my Vita has a YouTube app, free. I don't understand why it's not free for Microsoft. And the thing is, they put ads on your dashboard. They put, hey, check out this new single from this person. Okay, you click on it. Oh, you can't check this out because you don't have a Xbox Live Gold account. It's just like, what the fuck? You put it on my dashboard. You're trying to get my attention. You got my attention, but I can't fucking watch this. I can't watch a movie trailer that you're trying to sell me a movie on the Xbox 360. I can't watch the fucking trailer because it's on YouTube that I have to have gold in order to access. Who doesn't see the problem here? But one thing that Microsoft is doing, which finally, they don't get an applause for this. This is something that should have been expected. I have mentioned in a previous video, I said one of my biggest pet peeves is that when I went to play Black Ops 2 with my brother on the same console, split screen online, I couldn't be signed into my account while he's in his account and play together because I needed gold as well. I had to sign in as a guest, so I had his gamer tag +1 at the end, just to play with him. They're finally changing the way this plays, but it's not going to apply to the original Xbox 360. This is only going to apply to the Xbox One, and it's called Xbox Live Gold Sharing, where one account needs gold for the rest of the accounts on the system to enjoy online play.
Womp womp.
Oh, wait, I forgot. I wasn't going to applaud them. I don't understand this. It's like, this shit should have been expected from day one. It should have been this way. And I just think it's such bullshit, because I think gold should have been per console basis. It shouldn't have been per user basis. Hey, who will fault Microsoft for wanting more money? But, what do you call it? I see there's a lot of issues. They're trying to take a page out of Sony's playbook where we're going to give you all, to count down until the launch of Xbox One, we're going to give you all 2 free games a month. That's right, kiddies, 2. First
2 games which you already have.
The first 2 games are Halo 3 and Assassin's Creed 2. I think it was. I don't even think it was Assassin's Creed 3. I think it was Assassin's Creed 2. Which,
by the way, lest we remember, if you get them through and download them, they're not going to be usable on Xbox One anyway.
Womp womp.
I mean, that's great and all, but I think we're starting to, miss the bigger picture, ladies and gents.
Well, and
it's
this is
great that they're
where-
giving out free games, but they're free games that you're only going to be able to play on a system that only has 2 or 3 more years on its shelf life.
Yep.
Anyway, but that's enough.
Oh, I guess
Microsoft
even better.
bashing.
Well, we're going to transition over to Sony, and this is one
No,
comment.
I mean, like, we got to find some good points on Microsoft.
There's
come
no
on.
fucking good points.
Okay, I have one good point.
Oh, yeah, if you buy the Xbox One right now, you get the Day 1 edition that literally just says Day 1 edition.
Obviously, that's not it. Out of all 3 of the big names, and we all know what the 3 big names are, this one came out the strongest when it came to the plethora of exclusives and games. Yes, the system sucks. Yes, the service sucks. Yes, Microsoft sucks. But they do have a large plethora of games and titles that are specific, exclusives, that are going to draw a lot of gamers in. Especially gamers that have been following certain, IPs. For example, Metal Gear.
Yeah, they managed to get that.
I mean, that's pretty fucking impressive. They've managed to take Metal Gear away from being a Sony exclusive for close to 2 decades now.
Well, no, but they've done that in the past, though. Remember
We had
the
ports.
subsistence?
That was a fucking port, dude.
I know, but it was on the Microsoft console.
Either way, I've never been a fan of Metal Gear, but that was still something that was worth noting.
Well, that's because they finally have Blu-ray.
What's the other thing? Destiny, Bungie's new title, wasn't as big of a thing on Microsoft's side, by the way.
Well, I thought Destiny was a Sony exclusive.
No, originally it was supposed to be a cross-platform thing. I haven't checked my sources. I need to double-check if it's changed to be a Sony exclusive.
I think it's a Sony exclusive.
Give me two places that say that, and I'll agree to
Okay,
it.
here,
Anyway.
wait. If you type in Destiny Sony exclusive, let's see. Nope. Destiny is non-exclusive. It will be released on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and Xbox One.
I told
But
you.
no PC version. What the fuck?
I know. It burns. It burns with the intensity of 1,000 suns. But anyway, that's not the point. We still have a plethora of other games and exclusives that were shown at the... None of them really that interesting, but nonetheless, it still begs the question
Titanfall, I was actually a little bit intrigued.
Titanfall is a reskin version of Halo 4, and I didn't even fucking play Halo 4, okay,
I
dude?
was intrigued, okay? Give me a break. I was intrigued.
Dude, it's a reskin of Halo 4, and anyone who's played Halo 4 out there will know exactly what I mean when we're looking at the trailer.
I played Halo 4. I have Halo 4.
And tell
I
me
hate
that-
Halo 4.
Okay, well, you're just, stupid, but that's not the point.
How am I stupid? I hated it. It was so fucking short. It's like, it comes with 2 discs. Like, oh my god, this is a 2-disc game. Oh wow. And it's like, the credits roll. I'm like, wait, I didn't even put in my second disc yet. What the fuck?
Yes, the Final Fantasy syndrome. You remember when PlayStation 1?
Yes.
It came like 4
4
fucking
discs. Yes.
Well, what was the highest count? I think it was 8 discs on one of them.
I forgot what
was it?
game.
Was it 9 or 10?
No, it wasn't.
One of the-
It wasn't a Final Fantasy game because I have 9. 9 is a 4-disc game. What do you call it? 8, I think, is a 4-disc. 7 is a 3-disc. But there were games that came out like a year after the launch that had multiple discs. So
I know there was a couple of games that were like 8-disc games, but anyway, that's
Metal
not the...
Gear was. I mean, Metal Gear Solid was 2.
I cannot roll my eyes hard enough without causing permanent
I
physical
just
damage.
love. Hey, we all love that moment when you're playing Metal Gear. And he goes, "It says Snake. Look for that disc that says disc 2." Wait, what are you talking about? Oh, that's right. This is a Blu-ray. I love that part.
Moving on.
Hey, don't be shooting down my excitement and happiness.
I love to shoot down...
You're the
excitement
Grinch
hacks.
on this podcast.
I had fun once. It was horrible.
Now, moving on, Microsoft, we're gonna have to put the final nails in the coffin because all we can really talk about Microsoft is how much they fucked up. So
Pretty much, but at the end of this, at the very end of the podcast, we'll just like give or unless we want to do it now, what if you were to give them a score based on our, American grading system, A through F, what would you give Microsoft?
I would give them a macadamia nut cookie and tell them to go home.
No, please.
I'm serious. It's not even worth grading.
What do they call it? What is that
Okay,
word?
I'm going to have to give them a D-.
I was going to give them an F.
No, I'm giving them a D- because the presentation was worthwhile. Their selection of games means that it's something that is going to be competitive, whether we like to admit it or not.
Yeah, but they announced the $500 price point.
Yeah, but the $500 price point and the limitations inherent in the hardware are going to be a hard swallow. So, D-.
Yeah, and it's weird. Some people are swallowing that. They're like, get in there, get in there.
Well, some girls are spitters, some girls are swallowers. Either way, at the end of the day, it's just what makes you happy. But yeah, personally, it wasn't a complete failure because there are people that are still going to buy the system. But not the majority.
Hey,
they're not going to get the same
You will
love.
never see an Xbox One in my house.
The goodwill that they
I
got
will
from
shoot the
Xbox
thing
to
on
Xbox
site.
360 transition is lost completely. They've used up any and all goodwill that they could have from the gaming community, or what, self-describes as a gaming community.
I have to ask you, what did you think about the fact that they redesigned the system again? I think they only did it because Sony did a third redesign.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any need because I have the Slim
This
model.
is looking more and more just like he said, she said.
Yeah.
We did this because they did that, and they did that because we did this. And it becomes a Cartesian product.
And then Sony just says, ha, Microsoft, take this. Xbox Super Duper Slim.
We'll get to Sony. We'll get to Sony. Okay. Final judgment, D-. You.
I would give them an F.
Well, we'd like to hear your comments.
If you have, honestly, if you have great games, but the games don't matter if the system pisses you off.
I tend to disagree.
Okay, but look,
Only because
okay? Look
there's
at it this
a lot
way.
of stupid people out there.
Remember
who
what
have
we
enough
said? We said
plebeians
it would
defending
take
consoles.
the most amazing games for us to even consider buying one of these things.
That's
but
kind of what we
knowing
said.
everything we know now, I mean, I don't know. It would take back to back ridiculously perfect 10 scored exclusives for anyone to even turn their head and say, "Oh, they make consoles?" Like, I mean, people are pissed off.
Yeah, pretty much. And let's face it, it was not memorable. But at the end of the day, it's still going to compete whether we like it or not. So, we'd like to hear from you people. Unfortunately, you plebeians, because apparently you guys have, like assholes, you all have opinions, and they all stink.
Hey, everyone that hears this podcast, you have internet. So you can go ahead and buy an Xbox One.
Didn't I make that point before? Anyway, but that's... moving on. Sony.
So, now, let's just say, before we even mention anything that happened, we can all agree that we went into this expecting the worst.
Oh yeah, I was completely blind. I was thinking I was going to watch a copy-pasted version of the Xbox reveal thing. I was really thinking, you know what? I'm only going to pay attention enough to read the headlines, but not give a shit.
And now, I watched the thing live. I was chatting with a few people on Steam. That's right, I was playing League of Legends while watching an HD stream on my computer. Can you do that on your console? No, you fucking can't.
Well, because I'm an adult, I was at work, but I was reading a live blog through my tablet that I hooked up to
It was at nighttime. You work at nighttime? Liar. I was out of work.
No, I was still at work, dude. I had a client.
Oh, okay.
I was at work and I had...
That's right, guys. You can pick them up on the corner of...
I'm sorry, but you couldn't afford me. But
continue.
yeah, that's not the point. The point is that I was reading a live blog that I had set up on my tablet since I didn't want to use up too much energy watching a live video.
Okay.
While I was fixing a couple of servers. And yeah, at first I was like, okay.
Almost. Here it comes.
Oh my. A resounding oh my across the net.
Hey, honestly, when they got to the point, I mean, well, let's first show off that, the console looks okay. I mean, I was really like...
It's gonna overheat like a bitch.
No, the whole back of it is just one giant, you know how, a metal grating is? It's just a giant metal grate on the back of it. It is designed for absolute airflow. You thought there were more holes on the original PS3, you thought wrong.
You ain't seen nothing yet, Buster.
The thing actually, I was surprised at how small it looks. I mean, they say it's about the size of a PS3 Slim, not the Super Slim. So it's going to be heavy, but I actually like the design of it. I thought the original reaction was like, "What the hell is this?" Like, 'cause
unfortunately,
I was just trying
to
to wrap
me,
my head
all the
around
next
it.
gen systems look blocky. They all look like big black
not the
monoliths.
Wii
and it's
U.
like, nah. Dude, the Wii U is for children. If you put a big black box, it's going to scare the children.
Hey, the Wii U did not hear you say that. You better apologize.
I won't. Moving on, we're still sticking to Sony. We'll get to Nintendo
yes,
later.
we'll get to Nintendo, but Sony, okay, the console looks. I think it's a great looking console.
I could not care less for the aesthetics simply because
it lights up blue. It lights up blue, and it still has a slot loader. Thank God. Hey, have you noticed Microsoft actually puts a fucking slot loader in? It took them, 8 years?
Yeah, 2 generations, 8 years, yeah.
But it looks nice, and they have a USB 3.0, which everyone's saying, "Hey, look, this is a computer," but it's not.
Yeah, it is a computer. It just has a proprietary Sony OS.
One extra thing they have up on what do you call it? Microsoft is you can replace the hard drive.
Ooh.
That's right. So when you get your 2 terabyte laptop drives, you can put it in there
and totally fuck it up forever.
Hey, no, my original 60 has a 320 gig drive I had lying around. I just threw it in.
No, I'm talking about the Xbox One built-in DRMs are obviously not going to be good for long-term storage.
Oh, of course. And on top of it, you can't replace the drive. They made it
That's the
impossible.
other thing.
So, a lot of people are wait, we have to install every fucking game we buy. You're talking about games
Only
that are...
once.
I know, but you could re-download them. But the fact that the drive is only 500 gigs, you're going to fill that thing up pretty damn fast. I mean, I just downloaded Uncharted 3. I did not buy Uncharted 3, just putting that out there. So before you grab your fucking pitchforks, I didn't do that. But the download was 40 gigs. 40 gigs. And that's not a next-gen title. So I can only imagine that they're going to utilize even more space. So you look at Forza 5, I wouldn't be surprised if they're using quad-layered Blu-ray discs. I wouldn't be surprised if they get that to that point. Yeah. And, you're looking at it where, you're only going to be able to fit, 20 games on the hard drive and you're done, if not less.
Now, obviously, for the low-end gamer, the gamer with not too much moolah because, unfortunately, they can't get off their fat asses and work, yes, it's not going to be that much of an issue for you guys because the worst you can worry about is those 2 or 3 games you get at launch, how you're going to play them over and over again and have a huge save file. That's about it. But for the average gamer who's usually buying or purchasing a game at least once a month or once every quarter, it's going to be an issue. So
it's going to be an issue pretty damn fast. You thought 32 gigs on the Wii U was a problem. Quick. 500 gigs is not a lot.
Yeah,
and this is coming from a person.
Terabyte is not as big as a lot of people like to think.
When we graduated high school, remember we said to our professor, it was right when the first terabyte hard drive came out.
Oh, yes. Those $500 terabyte hard drives. We were like, dude, that's insane.
That would be awesome to have one. Hey, guys, I have a 4 terabyte hard drive sitting in my rig right now. I have 2 terabyte drives, a 256 gig solid state, and a 4 terabyte hard drive in my rig.
Nice. Solid state's for the OS, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I've seen the specs on those things. They make me moist.
Oh, you heard what they're doing now. They're doing a hybrid approach to solid states where right now the reason why solid states are cheaper is because they're doing what's called multi-level cell. But the problem with multi-level cell is they're slower. So what they're doing is they're going to put a half and half. They're going to put
now for the listeners out there, when he means slower, he still means still far faster than your average.
Yes. So they're going to be put in single level cells. And this is from SanDisk. They have the Extreme series. So there is a certain amount of space is actually single level cells. And the rest of it's multi-level. So it will realize, it'll be like, wait, you're using this a lot, so I'm going to throw you into the faster.
It's basically the Haswell approach, if you think about it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
But anyway, we're getting way too into techie.
But
just understand that when we're talking about we're talking about being able to read or write half a gig in a second, dude.
Oh no, it actually is at that point. They actually have a drive where it's actually two 512 gig solid states in one, and it's a RAID 0 built in, and it's 1 terabyte. And they're talking about 1 gigabyte per second write speeds.
Holy!
and 2 gigabyte per second read
Okay,
speeds.
for people out there who are thinking, "Oh my God, these techies are going at it again." Okay, the average high definition movie is above a gig, right?
The movies.
I mean, conservatively.
Well, I ripped mine. They come out to about 15 gigs.
Oh no! I'm not talking about Blu-rays. I'm talking about old-fashioned high-def movies that are directly ripped. Just the movie themselves.
People tend to rip them about 4 or 5 gigabytes.
Yeah.
Total size.
Okay. Now imagine being able to transfer that from one side to the other in 5 seconds.
That's insane.
Being able to transfer a Blu-ray movie over the air. And yeah, they've worked out the bandwidth. The only problem is the processing. So you have a solid-state drive.
Yep.
Yeah. Being able to transfer through the air a Blu-ray movie in 15 seconds.
Yep.
Imagine any installation for any program, no matter how condensed or no matter how huge, taking seconds instead of minutes.
Well, that's kind of how mine is right now. Look at Skype. If you try to launch Skype on a regular hard drive, it takes, anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. On a solid state, it's like that, and instantaneous. Yes. But that's
we use
all
that for
computer
servers,
shit.
for the OS and OS memory.
One thing.
We use the solid state, and the rest is just normal tape drive.
There is no benefit to putting a solid state in a PS3.
Yeah, no.
I've tried it. There is no benefit.
No, I'm sorry. Your software doesn't support it. I mean, it supports it to be able to work, but it doesn't
it'll read and write
actually
to it.
use
But there's just so much overhead that you're not. The console itself is the bottleneck.
Yeah.
Which I'm wondering if they're going to actually improve that with the PS4. Because their encryption was a bitch. That's why literally to install Uncharted 3, it took an hour. I'm not fucking kidding. An hour to install.
Yeah.
And that's after you already downloaded it.
That's true. Anyway, folks, we're
but,
cutting the
yes.
tech speak here. We'll go into detail, and dude, I will join you happily if we ever get into a dissection video of the PS4.
We will.
But moving along, with the rest of Sony, the fact that they were able to undercut.
Oh, wait, we didn't even get to that point yet.
No, we haven't even gotten to it.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to it yet. They before they announced the price, they did some other things. They announced that they had a lot of technical difficulties. They were showing off gameplay
unfortunately, we had what was
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed during the whole pirate intermission thing, it kept fucking bugging out.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I mean, yeah, at the Microsoft conference, you saw
had the sound
some COD
issues.
game or Battlefield unfortunately didn't start, but in Sony, it was during gameplay. It hurt.
Yep.
It fucking hurt.
It's almost as bad as when Microsoft showed off Windows 98, and they're like, you plug in the USB, it's going to detect it. Whoa. I guess that's why we're not releasing it yet. Blue screen of death during a presentation.
Good old Microsoft.
Yep.
But anyway, that's besides the point. Yes.
Assassin's Creed kept crashing. But then they announced... You there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I thought you blanked out. I'll fix
your
this.
Your mic is ridiculously powerful, so yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh my.
Yes. So what happened was they go and they decide, well, we're going to have 2 slides dedicated to basically, for one, kneeing Microsoft in the nads, and 2,
no, they didn't
fucking
knee
them in the
Microsoft
ass.
Okay, they took Microsoft, kicked the small baby Microsoft down a flight of steps, threw it out onto the street onto oncoming traffic, and whatever was left, they walked up to it and cock-slap it right across whatever part of its face was left.
Yes. Jack Tretton had 2 slides that he had to basically present, and one of them was talking about the whole DRM issue.
Oh my god, the cheers in that stadium.
Yes, they say, we support used games the same way the PS3 supports them. You can go in and when you buy a game, you can use it, you can give it away, you can sell it, you can do whatever you want with it.
Dude, the cheers.
The cheers that people gave. Everyone had a standing ovation. Then it wasn't
insane.
It wasn't enough. They needed to go even further. We will not require you to go online at all.
No mandatory peripherals, no mandatory cameras, nothing. You know what? It's a game console that's supposed to be that.
And that's before they announced the price. Now,
oh, that was before they dropped the
I was expecting to either be the same price as the Xbox One or even higher.
And we kind of we had a discussion. It wasn't so much an episode because unfortunately the sound quality was horrible. But we had a discussion and we made, guesses based on current hardware gen specs, current hardware costs and productions, and what we would expect for newer gen concepts. And we gave it around $500 to $600 range, which would actually be accepted in today's economy. $400 to $500 range would have been accepted at U.S. economy basis. So we were thinking, you know what? Since Microsoft fell right into it, which we were expecting $400 to $500, and they fell right into that. We were thinking, you know what? Sony's probably going to be competitive and bring it down to $400 or $500. Even though the system from the specs that were released, we were thinking $600 to $700.
Yep.
$399.
Yup. $399 US, $399 US, and one of them actually says, and it doesn't come with giant enemy crabs. They actually said this on the fucking presentation. I was like, wow, they're making a mockery of themselves.
Yeah, they don't take themselves seriously. They fucking know their place. You know what? If you are unfortunately a plebeian console lover, then it would be a crime to not buy a PS4.
Well, I bought one.
Yes, it was that bad. It was bad enough
literally,
to get Jack over here to pre-order a fucking PS4.
And hey, they sold out of the launch pre-orders. So if you go to pre-order it now, you're actually being put on a waiting list. So after the first batch, which I'm guaranteed to get, the first batch, you'll have to wait a few weeks to a few months, depending on how late in the game you decide to pre-order.
Trust me, you won't be waiting long.
But now, think about it this way. Have you looked on eBay?
Yeah.
There are people who legitimately have purchased from somebody a guaranteed day of delivery for $1,000. $1,000. There's some people.
And there are still people out there who say PC gaming is more expensive.
Yes.
Shame on you.
Yes, we're not the ones that pay gratuitously over what the value is, okay? I didn't see people rushing out and saying, oh my god, the GTX 690, I'm going to pay $2,000 for it instead of $1,000. Like, no.
Oh my god, let me put this in my... Yeah, well, anyway. It's just a very Down syndrome-y outlook on things.
But hey, I'm actually really enticed to just sell my pre-order.
Don't do it. Don't be that guy.
I want to be that guy.
Don't be that guy, man.
Okay, fine. I'm just going to enjoy my system. I'm going to play some Knack.
Which, by the way, I found rather interesting.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? It's like Wonderful 101 mixed with like some other things. Like, it just seems like those little parts are people. But I actually like it, and a lot of people are saying about it is it feels like we're going back to the good old days. But now, there was one game in particular that was announced that ultimately made the decision for me. I was going to pre-order it whether or not it was $3.99 or $4.99, and it's all because of this one game.
And what is the game, good sir?
Kingdom Hearts 3.
I cannot... The jack-off motion in my soul cannot be pronounced by my short arm because there is no arm long enough in existence.
I take it you're not a fan of the series.
It's not that I'm not a fan. I'm just apathetic towards it. I'm not interested in it. I've never been interested in it.
It skipped a generation. Like, I played the original. I played number 2. I skipped altogether, like, the Dream Drop Distance I didn't play. I didn't play the 365. I didn't play the what was it, Chain of Memories. Like, I didn't play those because I wanted a number 3, And we were expecting to see that on the PS3. Never happened. They announced it before the PS4 is coming out. And I'm like, wow. And like I had chills going up and down my spine while they're showing it off.
There was only one thing that was still nagging at me though with that set of launch titles was
What?
nobody had said anything about The Last Guardian, because I'm a fan of like Shadow of the
Yeah,
Colossus.
they-
I'm a fan of Ico, and they had said nothing during the presentation about The Last Guardian, and no one even fucking noticed until 2 or 3 hours after the presentation was done. It wasn't until then that it was stated by PlayStation boss Jack Tretton that he said The Last Guardian was on hiatus, which was then within 6 hours changed to it's not on hiatus, it's in active development, but just not ready.
Huh. I mean, well, the thing is, yeah, they talked to them about it on game trailers.
Now remember,
Geoff
The
Keighley
Last Guardian
interviewed-
was supposed to be like a PS3 exclusive. We were supposed to have seen this in PS3, but it never happened. And yes, unfortunately, I like these games, not for their minimalist beauty, because it is minimalist beauty, but because of the fact that they're story-driven games that are based on the mechanic of the game. They tell a story through the mechanic, and that's very hard, and the people behind it should be supported because these are fucking good games. And if you don't think so, play Shadow of the Colossus and tell me you don't, like, fucking remember it forever.
Yep.
That fucking horse. But anyway, along with those titles, we saw something coming out of Insomniac, which I know you're a Jack of Daxter fan, yes.
Yes.
Called, what was it called? Sunset Overdrive. Interesting concept.
That's not
really
for the PS4, though. It's for Xbox.
I know, that's why I'm bringing it up, though.
Oh.
How do you feel seeing that exclusives for people who used to make your favorite games are now, you know...
But they never made Jack and Daxter. They made Ratchet and Clank. They made Sly Cooper.
Oh, why am I
They
thinking they're all the
made
same people?
Resistance.
Sly Cooper was a great
They
fucking
made
game.
did they make Infamous? Yeah, they made Infamous.
Yeah, they made Infamous.
You know, I like them, but it doesn't bother me. I mean, it's not a big deal.
And of course, because you kept.
I mean,
making
hey,
it a joke
if they switched like Ratchet and Clank and they said, well, the next Ratchet and Clank is not going to be on Sony, it's going to be only on Xbox One, I would be pissed off. I would.
Well, anyway, because you made so much fun of it, if we remember the face with all the emotions.
Emotions. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the sorcerer.
Yes,
thing.
the sorcerer played.
What the fuck was it called, though? The name of the game was
the Dark Sorcerer.
Yeah,
thing.
the Dark Sorcerer.
But anyway, you have to agree that was fucking hilarious.
Hey, the troll, or what was it? Like the little gremlin troll guy was black.
You,
Yeah.
my nigga.
Yes.
Also, did you see the footage of Beyond Two Souls? You know, from Quantic Dream, which apparently you fucking hate, but you know.
Yeah, the one with Ellen Page. I know Ellen Page.
Yeah, but apparently the game might actually be fucking interesting.
Well, it has actually. What was his face? Fuck. What's the guy's name?
Yeah, it looked at first. It's
No, the one guy. Shit. He has glasses in it. What the fuck's... Oh, William Dafoe.
anything that William Dafoe is in is fucking gold. So I'm sorry.
Yes, I know. I'm enticed to actually play the game because he's in it.
There we go, people. He has accepted the emotions.
No, I haven't accepted it. I'm just...
Shut up, you did.
I'm just
You did.
ignoring it.
You did.
Whatever.
Oh, so you got price point. You got a plethora of accessories that are non-mandatory. You got non-DRM. You got tradability, which, by the way, I love the jab that they did on that
yeah.
little skit that
Yes.
they did. How you trade games with a Sony PS4.
No, how you
Step
share.
one. Oh, yes, how you share games. Step one, and they did this like giant introduction. Here you go.
And he's like, thanks. PlayStation.
That's it. That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, well, they had an interview about that, and they were talking about how they came up with it. They said they thought it was the most funny thing in the world when they came up with the idea, and they were doing a dress rehearsal. And this is right before Microsoft even had their E3 press conference. And they're like, well, wouldn't it be funny just to say this? You know? And they said, sure. And everyone's eating it up. It's become viral. And that's when, you know, console wars were fun, is when they take jabs, they throw punches.
Yes, this is going to be one of those generations. This is going to be a generation where one system is making fun of the other.
And
no
I love
longer,
it.
Gentlemen.
I love it. I love it. It's no longer political correctness. It's like they're calling you out. It's like an episode of, you know, wrestling matches. I'm gonna fuck you up and down this field, and yeah, let's fight for 5 seconds. it's basically a soap opera with fighting. But it's nice because they're actually calling them out, and I like that. But now look at it this way: if you were to buy either or of the systems, which direction would you be persuaded? Would you spend the extra $100 to have your game rights restricted, to have to check in like if you're on parole every 24 hours? You risk the possibility that their servers are going to go out, which they will. Or are you going to spend $100 less, get the same fucking games minus the few exclusives? You could do whatever you want with the games. If you want to wipe your ass, you're more than welcome to do so. I don't see with anyone with a brain stem why they would choose the Xbox over the PS4. I don't see
fanaticism, fanboyism. It's gonna happen, so fucking deal with it. And accept the fact.
I have mentioned to you that I watched a YouTube video today, and this guy was trying to say why the Xbox One is better than the PlayStation 4. His argument that he was trying to say is, you have to think about it, more than just the fact that it's $100 less. You have to think about this other stuff. You can't think about the fact that it's $100 cheaper, And I'm like, I had to write something to this. I'm like, good luck trying to convince people. I don't think you are convinced yourself.
Obviously, I'm not going to repeat. It's not just about the $100, but there are certain points like the plethora of games and also exclusivity
and the gratuitous
and
ass fucking.
base.
Hey, every console will include a free bottle of KY.
Anyway, no. But
if you want to play, you just have to jam it up there.
Just like we were talking about before, Nintendo had to do literally nothing, and that's basically what they did. We'll get into Nintendo
Actually,
later.
no, I don't see anything else we can talk about with Sony, just that I did pre-order it. Sue me. But,
I'm going over like what we expected and what occurred. We already knew Microsoft was going to be a bomb. We already knew that. Now we're seeing the actual fallout of it.
I didn't think they were going to be a bomb. I was more enticed to watch it because I was curious if they were going to do the right thing and backtrack on the whole DRM shit.
Yeah, but they didn't, and they
But they just did what everyone expected them to do, is just ignore it, be cocky motherfuckers.
The main thing was that we already saw this was going to happen. It was going to be a fucking train wreck. We didn't know was whether Sony was going to follow along or not.
Yes,
and we also said that
Nintendo
Nintendo had literally nothing to do but just sit there and look pretty and make promises.
But now wait, before we get onto Nintendo, I am betting that Microsoft is going to be such arrogant fucks that they're not going to drop the price to match Sony.
They're not going to drop the price.
They're not going to do it. I don't think they will.
No, and they shouldn't, because if they drop the price, that's the slippery slope. That's when they start changing their paradigm.
Admitting that they were wrong.
You don't want to do that.
It's basically a PS3 all over again. Just worse. I have to say it's worse. Sony, you just didn't have any games to actually play, but you were getting a budget Blu-ray player. I mean, that was really all you got. But
and now, since we are no longer looking at the budget Blu-ray player, it's not so much of a sell.
Hey, Microsoft got Blu-ray. I love that. If you don't check in, you can watch Blu-ray.
Until that locks up, for sure.
It's just so funny. Okay, so now Sony, yes, they wowed the crowd. They clearly had the best E3 press conference. So I'm going to rate them at an A. I'm going to give them an A.
I actually have a negative.
What? Go ahead.
We've been doing nothing but positives for Sony, and we got to make this.
Okay, wait. They are charging for online play.
Actually, that's a positive because what they're charging for online play. Okay, what they're charging per year is what Xbox is charging per month.
No, Xbox is not charging $50 a month. I don't know where people got this idea.
Because I used to pay $50 a month.
It wasn't $50 a month. No, it's $9 a month.
They lowered it down to $9 a month for Xbox Live Gold?
It's always been $9 a month. It
Dude,
was $60 a year.
Gold membership, no way.
Yes, I'm dead serious. It was $60 a year. But if you want to go month to month, it was $9 a month. So you got like they always said, hey, if you buy 10 months, you get 2 months free or whatever by doing that.
The main thing is that it's cheaper than Xbox Live.
Yeah, it's $10 cheaper.
And they were already giving away free games and access to alphas and betas before.
Which I have to say, I got my money's worth. I bought, literally after the press conference, I bought a PS Plus subscription for $50.
And you being a stickler for money, you were saying you got your money's worth, so
yes,
I don't see that as a negative.
Up until this point, I never purchased a subscription. So PlayStation Plus, it's been out for what, 2 years? I never found a reason to buy it. But then when they're announcing, well, you're going to need it, but then, I start reading up all the games they put on there for free. As I said, I got my money's worth because I got Uncharted 3, I got XCOM, I got Infamous 2, I got Little Big Planet 2, I got Little Big Planet Karting, Deus Ex Human Revolution, Gravity Days, Uncharted Golden Abyss, what else? Pinball Arcade. They gave you there's another one I can't think of. It's but like, I got Cave Story. So I got like 10 games for free within the course of 24 hours of activating that pass. And
so can you really say that as a negative?
No, I can't. And that's the thing. That's what pains me. It's like part of me wants to say, fuck you, Sony, for charging. But then again, it's like, you're an idiot if you don't have PlayStation Plus. Like, it's kind of that thing where I'm like, I really can't.
So now since you're done kissing Sony's ass, let me actually say something.
But let's say it this way. I went into E3 prepared to say, I told you guys so, Sony sucks ass, they're fucking assholes. But no, they've done a complete 180. They've changed my mind about them. I see a very bright future because it seems like they got their head out of their ass.
You heard it here first, folks. He's going back on his actual previous endeavor.
Yes. That's the thing, is that I'm shocked at what was announced because it's unlike the PlayStation 3 era Sony, where they thought they were the best. They thought people would get a second job to PlayStation 3. That's how arrogant and full of themselves they were.
Stupid. And yes, this is a quote that we're getting from back in the PS3 days. But anyway, I'm still trying to get to my negative. My negative is that when it comes to first-party support and first-party games, Sony came out extremely weak.
How so? They got Knack, they got Infamous Second Son, they got Drive Club, which I'm a racing fan and I thought it was pretty cool. And you get that for free. That's right, folks. Day one, when you take home your shiny PlayStation 4 and plug it in, if you have a PlayStation Plus subscription, which you better have, you're gonna get Drive Club for free. A brand new game, day one, not like Microsoft, where you get a 6-year-old game. The amount of games that were showed off by
the Microsoft portion were far, not better, but greater amount than the ones that were shown off for PlayStation 4. And also, from what we've seen and what's coming down the pipeline, exclusives and, new IPs are more geared toward the Xbox One marketplace features and less towards PS4. Now, we're not officially stating that, some are being written off or there's less games for this than the other. It's just from the way that the presentation was held, it was focusing more on the hardware and trying to make the gamers happy, and they did that. And you know what? I'm fucking happy. I want to give Sony a high five, and that's coming from me. But their strength that used to be high level of exclusivity is gone now since they're trying to make everyone happy. And so the PS4 is going to be almost entirely based on third-party support. And you know what? They're going to get it, because with the will of the gamers come the will of the developers, and they're going to get a shit ton of third-party support.
They've already announced that they've already sold out of the launch, which Microsoft still hasn't sold out yet. They announced that they are increasing their sales projections because they're even surprised how fast this thing is pre-ordering.
Yep.
I mean, they're winning hardcore Xbox 360 fans that are switching over to PS4 because Microsoft shot themselves in the foot.
Yep.
So the thing is, if you're a developer, I think you're going to want to develop for the PS4 first. You're going to want to make, back in the day, Xbox 360 was the platform that what you developed for, and then you just did a sloppy recode just to bring it over to the PS3.
Yep.
That's why Bayonetta ran far better on the Xbox 360. But Look at this
Yeah,
one.
we
Now
gotta
it's
get
going to be
into
backwards.
Bayonetta, but that's for the Nintendo conference.
Yes, we'll
'cause
get
that was-
into Bayonetta. But
What the fuck was that?
But one
Anyway,
thing I think Sony should have done, I don't think they should have released Gran Turismo 6 on the PS3. I think that should have been a launch title for the PS4.
maybe it wasn't
It
up to
should've.
par, or maybe it was just
Well, okay, so
a
we're gonna
last-minute decision.
okay,
that
so
we
what they're
don't
gonna
know.
do is they're gonna release Gran Turismo 6 for PS3, and then watch. They're gonna be like Gran Turismo 6 Prologue for the PS4.
Why not?
Like they took forever. They took forever to come out with Gran Turismo 5, and now. Who knows when they're going to have one that's built from the ground up for the PS4. It's probably going to be like 2020.
You won't have to wait that long, dude. It'll be pretty quick. But that's not the point. Like I said, that's really the only downside I could see. That's why I give it a B plus A minus to Sony. I'm still not happy about the format that they're going with, but I am happy that they actually give a crap about gamers and that they're actually trying to fix their reputation with gaming, really.
And they said it wasn't a response to Microsoft. It wasn't that, we're not going to do
Yes,
these
it
things.
was.
No,
Yes,
it
it
wasn't.
fucking
No,
was.
it wasn't. It was not a
Please,
response.
it was.
It was not a response. They said systems like this take, years to develop. So they said that they already came up with the price point like a few months ago. They had that price point, and they
Trust
said,
me, they already knew how much the Xbox was going to be before we did.
Okay, so call me a fool and call me, saying that I fell for it, but I kind of believe them on it.
Okay, then. Well,
Because,
moving
look,
on.
you know their history. You know that, well, look, we released a $600 system that bombed. The PlayStation 3, it took up until they released the Slim where it really started to take off from that point. So they know that when they went into the PlayStation 4, they looked at every mistake they made, which, by the way, that one British guy that was making announcements for Xbox One, he used to make the announcements for the PS3. You remember that bald guy and said, it's lots and lots of ducks. And look, we're going to throw pirate ships into the bathtub with the ducks. And look at the physics. If I shoot a cannon through the mass, you can see the hole. It just forms instantly, and the air can flow through that hole. This is the power of the PS3. Like, it was that guy. He's on the Xbox One, and the Xbox One is fucking up and making all the same mistakes that the PS3 made. That's okay. So people are calling the guy a traitor. I said, hey, he's probably why the PS3 sucked ass.
I got nothing to add to that because everything's already been said. What I'm saying is, I give it an A minus, B plus. Your
I
grade,
give it an A.
just an A?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
It's
Moving
higher than
on.
what you gave him.
Because I'm far fairer and far more critical at the same time.
I'm
not drinking the Kool-Aid, man.
No.
I'm not drinking the
I
Kool-Aid.
built my entire channel solely off of YouTube, like the yellow lighted death. Look at my earliest videos. My very first video was a rant on reliability with the PS3.
Dude.
And for me
I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid.
say that Sony had such a good press conference, that's saying something.
I'm not drinking the
Heck,
Kool-Aid.
my tagline, if you look on my YouTube picture, my picture is Yellow Lighted Death Expert. And it shows a PS3 in the background. This is coming from that guy. I'm telling you that, it took a lot for Sony to convince me otherwise, and they did it. They did it. And hey, I finally have a reason to keep my PlayStation Vita, even though they didn't announce any games for it. Every single PlayStation 4 title will be compatible with remote play. So if I have to take a shit, I can take a shit with my Vita and play Killzone, Shadow, whatever the hell, or, Infamous Second Son. So yes, I have a use for it now. It will always be number 2.
Okay, we need to get to Nintendo. Because
Okay.
then I gotta get to other stuff after Nintendo.
The beauty about it is that Nintendo really was lackluster.
Yeah, but at the same time, they gave the right
Okay.
respect to gamers.
No, well, let's just start off with the fact that they didn't have a traditional press conference.
Nope.
We're all used to having a live audience that will cheer and boo and
I
remain
don't know
silent.
what the fuck whose idea that was.
Well,
but yeah.
So they decide to have a pre-recorded video that plays on, by the way, one of the shittiest streaming services. Ustream cannot keep up with the demand. So yeah, the video quality was shit, constantly froze, and I had to refresh the page God knows how many times. If you go to watch it now, yeah, it will look nice, but trying to watch it live sucked. Second thing is, this guy, I mean, look, I understand he's the president of Nintendo of America.
Worst fucking presenter ever.
It is so monotone and boring, and you just want to shoot him and replace him with somebody who knows how to speak. No offense to the fact that he's trying to speak English. It's just that he's not a presenter. It's not, he's just the president.
He's the president of a country. You shouldn't put him in front of a camera. You do it.
He's not a president of a country. What are you talking about? You said
company.
You said country.
Company.
Okay, fine. Those of you who listen to this podcast, if he said country, write below in the comments.
They'll write below whether I said this or that. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yes. It was very boring. Now, the other problem is you don't get a sense for what people's reactions are. When it's a live press conference, and you have an audience, you look at when Microsoft announced the price. Everyone was silent. No one even clapped. Everyone was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious? But when Sony announces its price, they had a standing ovation. And this is something where, if Nintendo would announce something that was legitimately cool, you're used to hearing people cheer. You're used to hearing people say, yay. And, and if it's something that's boring as shit, you're used to hearing them, stay silent. You didn't get that. You didn't get any emotion from it. That's right. emotions. But the thing is,
haunt you.
and this is the biggest problem with Nintendo's press conference. I'm not even going to talk about the games right now. They started off saying that we are fully aware that there's a lack of games for the Wii U. They said we admit that it's a problem and we're sorry. Now we're going to announce a bunch of games that aren't going to come out until next fucking year.
Yep.
So it's like, you're dangling the steak, and every time I go to bite, you pull it further away. It's like, so okay, what am I supposed to do for the next fucking year with my Wii U? I don't understand. I really don't understand that. It's like the most boneheaded thing to say. Don't fucking admit that there's no games and then announce games that won't come out until either November or next spring. It's just fucking stupid. Now, don't get me started on the 3D Mario title. I'm pissed. They gave you a crossbreed between New Super Mario Brothers and Mario Galaxy, and they call it a full-fledged Mario 3D title. Bullshit. A full-fledged 3D Mario title doesn't have co-op. And nope. Yes, in Galaxy, you could have a second player basically waggle the Wii across the screen to collect stars and shoot enemies and hold them down, but there was no second player that you can play with in the game. You look at the original Mario 64, there was no multiplayer. You look at Super Mario Sunshine, there was no multiplayer. You look at the two Galaxy games, same thing. So I was expecting a game, when they said a new full adventure 3D Mario title, I was expecting something along the lines of Galaxy, Super Mario Sunshine, or the original Super Mario 64. I was expecting that. But I wasn't expecting them to take Super Mario 3D Land and making it bigger and calling it Mario 3D World, where there's 4-player co-op, and you have all these other characters. And the problem is it's not this open world where you can explore and stuff, where you can take your sweet fucking time if you want to get through the course. There is a countdown timer, and it's kind of a thing where it doesn't feel like a full-fledged Mario game.
Well, it feels like a kind of a redone old Mario game, because if you remember the old Mario games...
Yes, but they promised a new adventure, 3D Mario title. That's what they said during that one Nintendo Direct. And that's what I was expecting. You basically got my hopes up. I kept saying to everyone, I can't wait to see if they're going to do a Galaxy 3, or they're going to do a whole new different type of series. Yeah, they did a whole different type of series, but it was a fucking crossbreed between New Super Mario Brothers and a 3D Mario game. And I don't like it. I was let down by that.
You didn't like it.
They did redeem it somewhat by Mario Kart 8. which looks fucking sexy. I mean, I couldn't wait to see what it would look like in high definition, because this is the first time we're seeing a Mario Kart in HD, and I am not disappointed whatsoever. And they added a whole new gameplay mechanic called anti-gravity. And it works very well. From what I've seen, you'll have areas where you go on a blue strip and you're basically driving on the wall. And I'm very curious to see how that would affect, weapons and stuff, because, I mean, it's hard to run away from a red shell, but if someone on the ground is shooting a red shell and you're on the wall, will it go up to the wall and hit you? Who knows? But I definitely love the way it looks. It is gorgeous, and it's amazing what they're able to get out of the Wii U. It proves that the Wii U is powerful if programmed correctly for. So then they switched gears. They said, well, this game is delayed, this game's delayed, this game's delayed. We're sorry that you don't have any games, but these last 3 games are delayed. So Mario Party for the Wii U is delayed. The Wii U Fit is delayed. And I think like one other game or something's delayed. Oh, the Wonderful 101 is delayed again. So it's 2 delays for a game that was supposed to be a launch window game.
Yeah.
That. They showed off Bayonetta 2. They showed off a little bit of gameplay, which
By the way, what the fuck?
Hey, well, am I going to just say she's going for the lesbo cut? So... Now, I'm wondering, here it goes against everything. Her clothes are supposed to be her hair. So why is it that she can be short-haired and still have clothes?
I'm not going to go into the specifics, especially since the fact that it's Bayonetta. I'm just going for the fact that what exactly was it that I saw?
It looked like 3 seconds of gameplay footage, and that's it.
It looked like a whole bunch of kerfucking...
I don't know. We'll get demos of it at some point.
Unfortunately. But yes.
Which I still am pissed off at Nintendo. Why? Like, I don't get why they decide we're going to put them at Best Buys, but we're not going to put them at, Best Buys that are actually popular.
No.
I mean, look, okay, in one town, Paramus. I don't live in Paramus, so don't even, try to find me. But in Paramus, there's 3 fucking malls. Okay, you have the Garden State Plaza, you have the Paramus Park Mall, and you have the Bergen Mall. There's a Best Buy...
I work near there, by the way.
Yes, there's a Best Buy at the Garden State Plaza, literally in the fucking parking lot. There's a Best Buy like 2 blocks away from the Paramus Park Mall. Yeah. And there's a Best Buy, the Best Buy is pretty close to the Bergen Mall because Bergen Mall and the Garden State Plaza are 3 blocks away from each other. So I don't understand why those 2 Best Buys do not have this fucking Nintendo thing. No. You have to go to West Patterson, which is a good 30-minute to 45-minute drive. So you're going in the fucking boondocks. With good
traffic.
You're going in the boondocks. I'm not kidding. You're going into the fucking boondocks is the closest Best Buy that has this Nintendo Wii U E3 experience shit. So I have to drive all the way over there, risk getting shot to play Mario. Fuck you, Nintendo. That's all I can say. They didn't even put it in Manhattan. I don't get this. Like, you picked the worst places to put this shit.
I guess maybe their budget was limited.
Oh my god. It's just fucking stupid. And I don't understand. I even came up with legitimate ways you could have done this. They could have released these demos as a limited time thing where, they announce the games. Okay, after they make the announcement, it's on the store. You can download these demos for free, and they will only remain active for a week. So you could have done it where, you don't have to leave your home. You can play the Mario Kart. You can play these games, get all pumped up for them for when they release, but it deletes itself after a week. They could have done this. And that's what I wanted them to do. Instead, I have to get my ass up, drive in the boondocks, risk getting shot or have my car stolen to play fucking games that won't come out for another year.
That was a complete and utter waste of time.
Nintendo, you get a D, but if I get shot and killed, you get a fucking F.
From my end, I'm not that much of a Nintendo fan, sadly. But from what I saw, like I had stated long before, they have to do absolutely nothing and promise everything, and they will still be doing better than Microsoft. And apparently, they chose the path of least resistance and promised everything, did nothing, and spent little to no money on it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
for that, you pass, but not great. So I give you a D plus.
Mm-hmm. Well, now let's rate IGN's coverage. Now, I have to say something about IGN. Now, in previous years, they used to really get down and dirty with the systems. You know, they used to either actually hold them in their hands or, you know, they'll show off games and actually say, like, for instance, with the Nintendo Land, they actually had a separate video for each of the gameplay modes they were showing off. And they were explaining it, showing you what was on the screen, what was on the controller. Yep. You know, they really were doing really good coverage. This time around, it was fucking a strip tease left and right. They literally titled the video hands-on or a closer look at the PS4, right? And what they do is they have this douchebag with a Galaxy S3 phone saying, "Oh, you guys said you wanted it on Twitter, so here we're going to show you off the PlayStation 4. Look at it behind glass." This was a up close and personal. That's what they called it, up close and personal. Look, when I'm up close and personal, I'm touching. Don't tell me I'm looking. So up close and personal was brought to you by State Farm. Blah blah blah. You know, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Waste of time.
Yes, it was an utter complete waste of time. They did the same thing with the Xbox One. Like, look, it's behind glass too. Like, I was just like, you know, what the fuck? I mean, with the Wii U, they actually were able to, when it was still, Project Cafe, like when they first announced it, they were able to actually hold the fucking system in their hand. You know, and then they're showing, this is, they have gameplay demonstrations. Okay, now, what does gameplay demonstrations mean to you, Andy?
Means we're going to see a fucking game being played.
Would you agree with me if IGN titled it that but didn't do it?
I'm not surprised, dude. I already saw it. A lot of people are talking about it, and IGN's taking a lot of heat for it. But yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
IGN is saying, gameplay, a demonstration. So what they're doing is they're interviewing the main lead developers, and then they're just showing gameplay trailers. It's not even gameplay. It's literally just the little videos they showed off during the presentations. So I'm expecting to see, you know, some asshole with a camera showing someone playing it and saying, "Oh, look, I'm racing this game, you know, hey, look, I'm losing, whatever, or I'm kicking this guy's ass in Killer Instinct." No, I had to go to the average Joe Schmo who snuck his ass into the event with a cheap-ass iPhone camera, and they're showing me more in-depth gameplay than fucking IGN.
What a twist.
Yes, but IGN's not the only guilty ones. Even game trailers is the same fucking shit.
Yeah, there seems to have been a lot of limited press with this. Kind of makes you think if they were really overthinking too much coverage, especially when gamers of higher degrees started looking at the system and thinking, hey, maybe I should switch to PC this cycle.
A lot of people have been saying that I'm actually very surprised with it, because after the Xbox One was announced, it seemed like anyone who was going to buy an Xbox One prior to its announcement went in one of two places. Either they are going PC or they're going PS4. Yeah. And I'm actually happy to see it because, you know, it's a wake-up call. It's like, look, you know, this is the same tired shit.
Speaking of disappointments that have been turned into, did you see in the EA conference, Mirror's Edge 2 has been confirmed?
No, I haven't seen the video. I saw like a screenshot.
Don't waste your time. It's not much anything to see because EA totally fucked it up. But
hey, you called it. You sent me the one thing. You said that it was leaked or whatever, and it was like not even leaked confirmed. Before. Yeah.
It wasn't confirmed. It's confirmed now. It's, oh my god. It's going to be open world and it's going to be action based. It's going to be fucking sweet.
It now lets you commit suicide by jumping off a building.
Well, we'll get into suicide later. But if you were, I know there are not many fans out there of Mirror's Edge, and there are even more people out there who hated Mirror's Edge with the blinding heat of 1,000 suns. But for those of you who were fans and who understood what the developers were trying to do with that game,
emotions.
No, not emotions. Just actual.
If David Cage would make a first-person game, he would make Mirror's
Dude,
Edge.
at what point are you going to drop the whole emotions thing since you're already interested in it? Okay,
I ain't buying that game, so fuck off.
You are.
No, I'm not. I am not gonna buy that Dark Sorcerer shit.
Yeah, but they're also making the one with Ellen Page and William Dafoe.
I said I'll play it. I'm not saying I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna play it.
Side business.
Fuck you.
You're gonna like it anyway. Mirror's Edge 2, open world, gonna be kick ass. I'm looking forward to that.
Wait, does Ellen Page come with the game or no?
The one conference that I thought was the star of E3, as of right now, because E3 is still going on. But I think the one conference that is still at the top and came out the strongest, Ubisoft. Ubisoft blew
Which
everyone the fuck
I
up.
never thought I would ever hear that coming out of you.
I never thought those words would come out of my mouth.
This is coming from the company that wants to shove Uplay up everyone's ass.
This is from a company that if you walk into a group of decent gamers and say their name, everyone will laugh at you.
No, they'll start kicking you. Now, this is coming from the company that basically said, fuck you, Wii U owners. Yes, we're going to announce literally 2 weeks before the game is supposed to come out that it's no longer going to be an exclusive and that it's not going to come out until the next holiday.
Thing with Ubisoft and with Nintendo is if you sell more Nintendo Wii U's, we'll make more games.
But here, it's actually a conundrum here because in order to sell more Wii U's, you have to have more games. But now the people who are making the games are saying we won't make more games until you sell more Wii U's. So it's a standstill here.
Boo fucking who.
Well, Nintendo's not doing a good job because we all have to wait.
Nintendo screwed itself over from the previous, and we already went over this.
The Wii U will start selling like hotcakes the second the what do you call it? The two games come out. Once Mario Kart 8 comes out and the Mario 3D World, fuckers. The system will sell because it's the same thing that happened with the 3DS.
So you're going to sell a system for just 2 games?
Yeah, actually, that's what happened with the 3DS. The 3DS started really taking off once the Mario 3D Land and Mario Kart 7 came out.
Because we already know Nintendo seriously needs the money.
Well, yeah, they're hurting for cash.
Yeah, no.
They had to do a Nintendo Direct for E3.
Nintendo seriously needs the money. If they can't fucking afford to go to E3.
No, they did go to E3. They just didn't have a press conference.
They couldn't afford to go to E3.
They had E3. They
showed up at a bunch of Best Buys. They didn't even show up at a Manhattan Best Buy, man.
I know. They didn't even show up at the real Best Buys, but it's probably one of those like Best Buy mobile stores. It's like, you can only fit 3 people in here.
Anyway, 2 things that I wanted to talk about that left Ubisoft in the strongest part.
Okay.
One of them, we already saw it before. We saw it more in depth this time. Watch Dogs. For those of you who still watch television, good for you.
Television.
You'll know this game as basically being a game conceptualized version of Person of Interest, only with less of an AI and more of badassery cell phone usage. But besides the point, this is an interesting game. Everything they're doing is interesting. Okay, the single-player module allows you to play the game throughout. Allows it to be an open-world game, allows it to be interactive, etc., etc.
That's if you activate your online pass.
Okay, dude. It's going to be like that. That's going to be for every game now, so what the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, moving on. It's going to allow for also multiplayer, but the thing is that it's not going to be your average multiplayer. For those of you who have played a little-known game on Steam called Monaco, what's mine is yours. It's a great game, great concept, but when you play it, you can choose to play offline or offline by simply switching at the front, the main menu, which means that at any point, a random person can join the game that you're playing, which is a single-player game, and it immediately switches to co-op, and the system already, adjusts automatically without you seeing how it happens. This is how it happens with this system. But not only does it allow for multiplayer capabilities on different systems, but it allows for multiplayer capabilities through tablet hardware as well. There is a tablet-based client for it that allows you to actually help another person playing the game or hurt them by having connectivity with the tablet as well, which I think is fucking brilliant. Multi-cross-platform connectivity on a game of this scale, mwah, that's the stuff I love to hear. On top of which, when it comes to multiplayer, like I said, they could either hurt help you or hurt you. And by hurt, it means that the person that joins your game, in order to troll your ass, you're not going to see as another main character model. He is going to look to you like any other NPC, and you won't be able to notice him unless you can see him hacking you. So basically, a multiplayer game means that any other player can be a random NPC walking next to you right now.
And be a complete asshole.
And be a complete and total asshole. Tell me that doesn't leave.
Well, that's how it happened.
possibilities.
That's one time I threw my controller in rage when I was playing Resident Evil 5. I decided to allow anyone to join. Big mistake. Because a boss battle comes and the guy just stands in the corner making me single-handedly defeat a boss. I was like, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. And then he wouldn't move, so when you want to go to the next section of the game, you have to wait for him. And I'm just sitting there, and the guy just like basically standing there for 15 minutes. I'm like, fuck this. Shut it off.
Well, anyway, that's the first silver bullet. The second silver bullet is a game called The Division. Tom Clancy's licensed The Division.
Huh.
Now, that's not interesting to many players because, fortunately, many players don't read or care for Tom Clancy.
You know those things on paper? It's called books.
Yes, no, and even then...
And books do not have emotions because they have no pixels.
Really, some of his books weren't that great, especially the recent ones. But you know what? He's still a decent writer. Hunt for Red October. If you don't read the original and only take it for the movie, you're missing out so much more. It is such a good fucking story. Moving aside, The Division is taking place in a post-apocalyptic America that takes place after an outbreak of a disease. But it's not.
Where have we heard that before?
Yeah, but it's not some silly science fiction disease. The whole basis of the game is like DayZ. It's survival. But you're a unit of the American Armed Forces built specifically to save what little is left. So you're surviving through the streets of Manhattan, picking and choosing your battles in an MMO-style persistent world that is accessible both through the game client and through a secondary game client for tablets that allows your group to consistently stay together at all times, whatever they're playing. We saw the demo. If you know what I'm talking about or don't know what I'm talking about, just watch the demo again because it's just fucking brilliant. The Division.
Links will be below for that.
Yeah. Now, this starts to show that Ubisoft isn't just thinking about the console market. They're thinking about broadening their control, their reign of control. They're going into tablets, they're going into smart devices, and they're going to probably allow this for PCs as well because that'd be stupid if they didn't. And it's also changing the game space. We're no longer looking at single shard, limited, isolated incidents of short gameplay. We're looking at a game being a passport to a persistent world now. And this is a persistent world that both takes place with events that are NPC-based and story-based and non-NPC-based, non-story-based PvP scenarios. This is fucking insane. This is DayZ, but done by a company with millions of dollars behind it. This is what we want as gamers. Is it going to be all that? I don't know. But you bet your ass I want to find out. Now, for those of you who don't understand my giddiness towards it, once again, I plead you, I pray angels, take a second and watch the demo for Division. You'll understand everything that I was talking about the moment you finish the demo. And yes, that's right. On stage, they had the extra... You'll know what I mean when you watch it. They had the extra character actually play on a tablet while that was happening, which I think is utterly ridiculous how they were able to sync so many different hardware types going on at the same time.
It's called technology.
Oh, it's called freaking good programming. But that's besides the point. Those are my reasons why I think Ubisoft came out the strongest. Stronger than even the fucking manufacturers, which is fucking sad.
Well, no,
we are living in a
sad
topsy-turvy
and
world.
cool at the same time. Because, I mean, look, if Ubisoft bested Sony, that's really saying a lot because everyone at this point thought Sony had
and
the
Sony
best.
may very well be kissing the feet of Ubisoft in order to provide third-party capabilities for it. And that's not counting third-party support like Bungie, for example. Destiny? Dude, that actually looks fucking seriously interesting. I'm not... I've always been a fan of Bungie simply because I love their care for story games. But naturally, I'm dubious about this because it's their first foray outside the protective veil of Microsoft. But yeah, I have to say, the concept for the game being a persistent first-person shooter with a world that is consistently actively changing, having events, stuff like that. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's starting to see the same thing click all over the place. People are starting to see we like something like DayZ. We like a persistent world where when we die, it means something. Starting to see that in other games and different ways those other games are trying to use that same aspect. Kind of brings a warm, fuzzy feeling to the subcockles of my dead heart.
Which, tomorrow, The Last of Us comes out.
Oh, yes, that's true. Last of Us.
My copy will be hopefully delivered tomorrow.
So you'll definitely hear about this
next,
guy.
Yeah, next week, and
there's one more piece of news that I wanted to break.
What?
E3 organizers set the police on the
Ouya.
Yes.
I read that. I was like, what the fuck is that all about?
Yes. It seems that Ouya neither had the money nor the interest to be part of E3 itself. Ouya is, if you don't already know, not even fourth party, not even third party, it's fourth or fifth party. It is a crowd-funded initiative to create an Android-based game console for set-top boxes. It already created it. The test version came out. It's brilliant, but a lot of people like to bitch simply because they don't understand the phrase test version. But anyway, they weren't going to set up at E3. They were going to set up on a parking lot across the street from E3. So what did the E3 commissioners do? They parked 2 huge fucking trucks in order to block anyone's view access of the actual Ouya group in the parking lot. Now remember, kids, all the paperwork was filled out correctly. Nothing illegal was done. It's just that E3 didn't like them showing up and not paying, apparently.
It was the ESA.
The ESA, I'm sorry. The beloved ESA.
Which, if you guys don't know what ESA is, it's basically the MPAA or the RIAA just for software. It's basically an unnecessary organization that is basically like a union that needs to die.
Yeah, it was created for the sole purpose of hindering as much progress as possible to keep the old people who should die still around. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. What was funny, and the reason why I'm getting an Ouya, I'm saying this on record right now, this is the reason why I'm getting an Ouya. When presented with this problem, the organizers of the Ouya did something utterly insane. They called up and bought, placement rights and a permit and got all the paperwork ready in order to put on top of those trucks that were being parked giant Ouya signs. Which then prompted the E3 people to say, hey, you can't do that. And the Ouya guys going, yeah, we can. Here's the papers. They called the police on them.
Yep.
Now, of course, this would have turned into a comical scenario were it not for the utter cleverness of the Ouya people having all the paperwork done, all the paperwork ready. The officers passed by for a mere 30 seconds, saw the paperwork, and left. And this is quoting the gentleman who's running he's the vice president, not the president. He wanted to show up on its own terms. Oh, where is it that if 10 more trucks show up, we'll come up with another idea. I have a few up my sleeve.
Yeah.
Mr. Ehrman, the vice president, fucking brilliant. He's also the founder of the Ouya. Julie Uhrman. Mr. Uhrman was the one who originally started the Kickstarter, and he's the founder, but he's also technically the co-founder since there was another gentleman who was also working with the project for setting it up. But anyway, it is a Android-based game top system with all the free games you want, etc., etc. You'll see what I mean when you see the link below. I suggest you get it simply because they're fucking clever and because they're sticking it to the man the way the man works. So for Ouya, they get an A+ from me.
And they didn't even have a press conference.
No press conference. They just stood outside and said, "Fuck you, we do things our way." And you know
Legally.
what? They get my money. We're still looking at more E3 coverage. More stuff might be happening right now. Who knows?
Yeah, which we could probably will add more next week's episode.
Yeah.
I think we covered basically 90% of what's happened. If there's anything we missed, definitely drop a comment below and we'll try to
Please.
cover it.
If you
next
want
week.
us to talk about something that we may have missed or something that caught your interest in this year's E3, please tell us because, well, we care so much about you.
And if you're a gamer out there who loves the Xbox One and wants to prove us wrong, you're more than welcome to join us next
Please
week.
do. And we're not saying this to be sarcastic. We're not saying this to start. We want actual good, back and forth. We want to hear someone come up with a good reason why we would want to buy an Xbox One.
Exactly.
And I can promise you, if someone in the comments can change my mind, I will buy an Xbox One and do an unboxing video.
Wow. And this is coming from someone who doesn't even have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Doesn't
No,
even
I
release
technically have a
videos.
YouTube channel, but I don't like to make videos. But I promise you, if somebody can change my mind, and I am willing to have my mind changed, if someone can come up with a good way to present the idea, then yes, I will do it.
Not only that, this YouTube channel will actually purchase the winner. And
No. Don't be a dick, dude. Eat a bag of dicks.
Whoa. It never sounded so good, but now, in absolute clarity, you really mean it.
Eat a bag of dicks.
You sound like one of those late night talk show hosts, like on the radio.
Oh, goody for that.
It's time for the
almost live
Yes.
from the virtual UGP studios. It's Ultimate Gamer Podcast with your host Andy G and Jack the Bomb.
that is our new intro.
We should do that. I wanted to do a special guest star or something like that.
We're also still looking for someone who can come up with a nice artwork for a show or something.
If you got artwork, if you got music, we're more than willing to, take without asking.
Yes, and we'll definitely give you credit for that.
He will. I won't.
I will. That's because I have a soul.
But
I have to say,
those always get in the way.
we're a quarter of a century old here. I mean, we're on episode 26. I just can't believe it. We are brought to you by Heinrichs because Andy did buy me a bottle of Heinrichs.
Yes, as a housewarming present, because unfortunately our friend here is, now tied down to a ball and chain.
Yes.
God rest his soul.
It fucking sucks. I did not say that. I love you, honey.
Well, best wishes to all, and let's hope something interesting happens in the last days of E3. If not, fuck, this year was kind of a boredom. Kind of a letdown. And just goes to show that I'll eventually be playing on a PS4 anyway.
That's right.
They got me by the short hairs, dude. They got fucking
and they're
Dust
pulling.
514.
They're pulling hard.
They got Dust 514 as an exclusive. Unless it goes to PC within the next 6 months, I'm gonna have to get a fucking PlayStation whether I like it or not. And on top of that, fucking Division and Watch Dogs and fucking
Well, wait. Watch Dogs is on PC.
No, I know Watch Dogs is going to be on PC, but if I'm going to get a PS4, I might as well get the PS4 version as well.
No, fuck that. Like that's what I'm doing. If there's a game that's on PC that I want to play, that's also on the PS4, Xbox One, or whatever, I'm just gonna get the PC version. It's the definitive edition. It's the version that doesn't slow down when there's intense
action. Yes, but I actually have friends
action.
who are also getting PS4, so I'm going to want to do it with
Okay,
them
if
as
your
well.
friends are jumping off a bridge, would you do that too? If your friends are sipping the Kool-Aid, would you join in too?
If there's a fucking party cruise ship at the bottom and we're supposed to jump down, yeah, you bet your ass I will.
Ooh, I get a PS4? I'm jumping. No. Which, by the way, you always saying platypus at the end of our episodes. I actually got somebody on the Xbox 360. Someone sends me a friend invite and said platypus on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was just like, what?
Well, hey, you know what? You cannot deny the power of
Okay,
platypus.
so now when someone comes up with the artwork, you have to draw an imaginary Andy with him saying, "Remember the platypus."
Codename Platypus.
Well, good night, everybody, and remember to platypus.
And see you all next week.